up, everybody? Welcome to Sixers Postgame Live. Sixers get the dub tonight. Crush the Washington Wizards 146-128. Talking reaction, takeaways, player of the game grades. Joining me, as always, he is Sean_Bernard1 on Twitter. What's up, Sean?
Yeah, I'm thrilled. It feels weird having these stress-free victories. We get to come on here and chat about that. We're no longer stressing it out, not waiting for the collapse. Just smooth sailing, taking care of business the way it should be.
Man, like all I can think about, and I hate to be like the hater on this show, but the Doc Rivers versus Nick Nurse offense has been night and day between the last few years and this year. Wow. The ball movement, guys running off screens, the hustle, the energy, the points off turnovers, the spacing, it was sensational, top to bottom. We're going to break it all down. Guys, if you're watching us live, please be sure to comment your thoughts on the game. Please be sure to let us know, are you back in on this team? Because the Sixers have a huge one coming up on Wednesday against the Celtics, a huge test. But again, please consider subscribing and like this video if you love Joel Embiid just absolutely dominating. And that's where we're going to lead off on this one as Daniel comments here. Embiid, MVP, 48 points. Embiid, 48 points, 17 of 25, 11 boards, 6 assists, Sean, 1 turnover. This was a straight masterclass performance by Joel Embiid, dominating at the elbow and basically just toying with the Washington Wizards. I feel like Daniel Gafford kind of pissed him off in that quarter. And he had several blocks on Embiid, and then Embiid just went to work, baby. He came out and was like, enough is enough. And I think he made a statement. What did you think about Joel Embiid tonight, man?
Yeah, it was interesting because Gafford did kind of get the better of him for the first couple minutes of that game. He had 5 blocks in the first 7 minutes, which is absurd stuff for Gafford. And then Embiid woke up. He remembered that he's the best player in the entire world whenever he's playing at his best, and he proved that he could have very well gone for 70 points tonight if the game dictated it. That if this was a close game, like he was sleepwalking. And a cool thing that I'm liking about the Nick Nurse system is when he sees something working, he just spams it, whether it is the Tyrese Maxey and Embiid pick and roll, whether it's the Embiid post up and clear out. When there's a play that is working, he will run it 5 or 6 possessions in a row until there's begins to be an answer. And Embiid was the beneficiary of that tonight. I thought it happened on the pick and roll with Maxey, and they also did a really nice job finding him in that mid-range right by the free throw line when the Wizards played a little bit of zone defense. So it was nice to see them slip into that. The jump shot looked automatic. Defense was good as well. This was an MVP performance from Joel Embiid tonight.
MVP performance from Joel Embiid. Sixers fan says Embiid for president. Maxey Embiid pick and roll was cooking. Man, there were some amazing plays in this one. I can't wait to create the highlight reels of this one. We're going to get into Maxey right after this, but this was the best chemistry I've seen between Maxey and Embiid by far. It's in terms of like Maxey's confidence distributing. Like he looked like James Harden during segments of this game.
Yeah, it's blown away. And I kind of have been bouncing around the take. I love it, Nick. I love it. Back in. And you should be. We should be after this. But I've been dancing around this take and saying it kind of in different ways. But I really do feel the 2-man game with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid is more dangerous than the 2-man game of James Harden and Joel Embiid because there's more that you can do with it. There's more options you can go off. It isn't just the pick and roll and pocket pass or the step back 3. That Maxey can turn the corner. He can get downhill. And I really can't get over just his leap as far as processing the game, feeling things out. It's unbelievable. Like, he looks like a 10-year NBA veteran, the way that he's reading defenses, making decisions. He's drawing defenders a little longer this year. Like, he doesn't feel in a rush. He's kind of toying with them, bringing them to a spot, and then creating the pass that he wants. He's no longer just making the right pass. He's now creating plays for others, which that is true point guard play. I did not think – we talked about, like, giving it till the All-Star break to start to have, like, our assessment of things. He's passing with flying colors thus far. I can't believe it's been this good this quick.
Yeah. Just to recap on Joel Embiid, here's his shot chart. Look at my man cooking inside the paint, cooking
Yeah.
at that low. A lot of green there, Sean. Didn't hit any of his 3-pointers today. But that's where you'll want to see Joel Embiid operate, right there in that elbow in this Nick Nurse office. Man, how good must it feel to be Joel Embiid and have guys cutting all around the basket? I'm actually a little surprised, Sean, because I didn't think Embiid would look this good moving the basketball this fast.
Yeah.
I thought he was a little bit slower. I thought the Nurse system might be a little too quick, too fast for him. But just like Tobias, like he's just fitting in. You could see him growing with confidence in this system.
Yeah, and it's there's been a lot of critiques about Joel Embiid as a playmaker, and he's earned a lot of it. That he has not been good. He's still not a natural playmaker by any means, but Nick Nurse is making his life so much easier by just giving passes for him to make. That when it was this stagnant, just standstill offense of Doc Rivers, it's really difficult to play make out of that. When there's guys directly making cuts, when there's guys moving off ball, setting screens for others, and it's a simple like this guy's open, let me just make the pass rather than trying to create something for others. It's a completely different story. So it's very impressive. He also just looks completely bought in on this. Like he's absolutely still getting his touches, getting his shots. There's no doubt about that. But he looks more bought into the team-friendly construct, and the team is for the better because of it.
Yeah. All right. Let's get some comments. We've got a lot of them. Keep them coming, guys. JoJo's the only player since 66 or 76, 77 with 45, 11, and 5 in 32 minutes or less. He's the Billy Wagner of the NBA. Can we get that against the Celtics in May?
He also set the Sixers record for most points in a quarter with 29 in the third today. Ever.
9 points and some emphatic dunks. Great pick and roll moments between Maxey and Embiid and Tobias and Embiid. Like it was awesome. Princeton House and let's go. At this point, no way Embiid has a chance for MVP. He isn't playing in the fourth quarter. Different team. It's amazing. Back-to-back games of no Embiid in the fourth quarter. Great Sixers debut from Nick Batum. We are going to get into that because I thought he looked excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Just blows PJ Tucker out of the water in terms of expectations and impact. How come KJ Martin and Mo Bamba?
ESPN's been weird.
Yeah, ESPN box score. We were saying this before we went live, but real quick, like KJ Martin, I'm a little shocked that KJ Martin's getting such little burn, especially playing with like the third and fourth stringers. I thought he was a little bit better than that. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a point to how deep this team is. Like they went 10 deep without Covington stepping on the floor tonight. That we didn't see Marcus Morris, who both these guys were playing like legitimate minutes for the Clippers these past couple years, and they're barely scratching the court. And because there are guys like there's going to be plenty more to evaluate and feel out from here, but like realistically, you could play like 12 guys on this roster, which I've never in my lifetime been able to say about a Sixers team.
And I tweeted this, like this team is suddenly likable. And I like going from the Hardens, the Danny Greens, guys that can't even run up and down the court. So now we've got guys that can move the basketball, hustle,
want to be here. Guys that want to be here.
They're moving the ball fast. They're pushing the pace. We've got Beverly, Melton, Morris, Rocco making some moments. Like they got length. They got guys that can defend the perimeter, the paint. Like Paul Reed was awesome. His defense was terrific in the second half, I thought. They're just top to bottom, a more likable team. And it's just such a stark contrast. And that's why like I'm trying to stay neutral on this team, but I am like falling in love with the depth of this team and what could be a Sixers identity that's defense into offense and just hustle and heart and resiliency. It's really fun, man.
Yeah, there's no doubt like the future and the identity of this team is Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and then athletic, versatile, switchable wings around them. And that picture is beginning to be painted, that we are seeing the Nick Batums of the world showing face. Covington looks like he's home. He looked good for his stretch once he did go on the court today. Hit his first three as a Sixer again, which was nice. He's competing for loose balls. He's everywhere defensively. They got a lot of guys. They all are competing hard, and competition brings out the best in all these guys. So as they're fighting for these minutes, that's only going to raise the overall level of this team.
Mm-hmm. Barry says, keep the assets. Don't disrupt the chemistry. Celtics on Wednesday. We'll be doing a watch party and a post game for that game on Wednesday. That's going to be wild, man. That is going to be wild. What's up, Quentin? Says Sixers employing the 3 full hockey lines. Keep the assets. Again, a lot of people want to kind of.
I love the hype. Just to put a quick asterisk next to things, this Wizards team, man, like, yeah, they're bad. Like, they might like win like 12 games this year. They're like processy Sixers level bad with less hope for the future.
Maybe I was watching too much Mighty B and the Sixers at the same time. I'm grumpy by osmosis. This game makes me even madder at Glenn. That's the fact.
Hard not to be.
We're not going to get into there. But that's all I think about, Steven. That's all I think about is how much he held this team back. Real question. Do you think Maxey is the system? James from LA wants to know. Mr. Rudy Boo says, don't please, or not going to give KJ more minutes. Give him some confidence. The return of Mr. Rudy Poo. He's the best, man. Nick Batum, we'll get to him in a second. And then my man Phil from Trending in the AM says, the most fun I've seen since from the Sixers in ages. Boston is the measuring stick, man. I'm telling you, man, and we said this on the last post-game show. If the Sixers were to defeat the Boston Celtics on Wednesday, are people bought in? Like, the momentum is there.
Yeah, 100%. That's going to be an all-eyes kind of game. And I also like to point out, like, the Celtics have looked unstoppable this year, but they really haven't played anybody either. That they've had an easy schedule. So for both teams, the Sixers obviously had the Bucks out of the gates, but that was before the trade, before first game, all these new system, all these things. And the worst that I've seen Embiid play was that game one for sure. So I do think this is a truer test, and this is kind of a statement game for both sides. I think the Celtics are looking the same way. And even with, like, you can make the argument they're short on a little top-end talent. Still, the Sixers team, as we evaluate things, if you want to make that case, the Sixers are still the third best team in the East, I think very comfortably. That I still feel much more confident about this unit than a Cavs team, than a Knicks team, or anybody else you want to throw in the mix. The Heat have looked horrible so far this year. So that's a big game from the Celtics perspective too. But yeah, this is going to be the one.
Yep. Thanks for joining, Phil. Go check out his show, Training in the AM. Weekday mornings, does such a good job covering Philly sports. Nick says, still waiting for you guys to talk about the real star tonight. All right, let's keep this going. Guys, thanks for the comments. Like this video if you love Nick Nurse. Let's talk about Tyrese Maxey real quick and get to some newbies that we got a glimpse of for the first time. Tyrese Maxey, his ability to redefine himself again and again and again is nothing short of remarkable. He finished this one with a career high 11 assists. He was sensational moving the basketball. That you can see him growing in the pick and roll with Embiid, and there were some passes he made that I don't think I've seen him make before. Yeah, he's like you said, he's processing things. You can see the game is becoming or slowing down a little bit more for him. What were your thoughts on Maxey before we get into Nick Batum?
He's just like a delight to watch play basketball, man. Like, he's so fun. He's so good. He can do it at every level. The passing has been so much better than I expected was even possible at this point. And it's interesting. I had somebody tweeting at me saying, like, imagine how good he would be if there wasn't the James Harden experience of him kind of sitting behind that. And I kind of feel the opposite, that I feel like we're now at the point where he's ready to take that next step. I think he learned a lot from watching how James Harden setup plays, the way that he does run a pick and roll, the way that he does these things, goes about the day-to-day, reading defenses. Now it's time for him to step up, be that guy, and he's absolutely doing it. Like, I could not have – this is far and exceeded everything I could have hoped for. This is like the A++ performances. 11 assists, 0 turnovers again today. Through the season, he's had 7 total turnovers on the year. That is, for a guy that's as high usage as he is, that's incredibly impressive. So he's ready. This is his offense to run. He's doing a damn good job of it, and I can't be more excited for what the season still has to come.
Absolutely. And it's just crazy, man. So many positives from this young Sixers team. Trending in the AM says, I am bought in now, but beating Boston is a different statement level game. Absolutely. Steven says, Nurse is just a way better teacher. Glenn is a personality manager with a 90s strategy. Is facts. I like that. And let's get into Nick Batum, making his Sixers debut today. 11 points, 3 of 4 from three-point range, a plus 30. The defense was good. The floor spacing was incredible. What did you think about Nick Batum?
Yeah, he's a super high IQ player. He looks like he's got some juice in the tank, that he moved well. He competed defensively. The 3-point release is probably the quickest across the entire NBA. Like the way that he has to have no dip, that third 3-pointer that he hit where he was coming off the pin down screen, like he wasn't even fully facing the basket yet. There was one that he hit against the Sixers a couple of years ago that I remember that it looked like he didn't even catch the ball before it was releasing out. That's the Nick Batum. And the way that he moved, the first 2 3-pointers were both created off a double team that was brought on Joel. He did a really nice job of just finding the right pocket, getting himself open, and then capitalized by knocking down the shot. That's the type of player that he brings. So he brings a lot of like all the good pieces of these veteran guys that we have floating around, the Danny Green, the PJ Tucker, those kind of guys, without kind of the downsides that they had. That he looks physically much more capable, got a good frame, a good body. He's still pretty athletic. That like he just kind of brings a lot of, even Georges Niang, I'll throw, is kind of a comp of a guy that I think brings a lot of the good from with less of the bad. So he's just a professional. He knows what he's doing. He's going to be a really nice piece in this team. And I think he should be the front runner for that 5th starting spot in this rotation.
That's how I saw him. Is like he's a better Georges Niang. That's definitely like what kind of just my thought process as well.
Yeah. And
He
some Danny Green I see a lot too.
He took 4 3-pointers tonight. Do you know how many times PJ Tucker took 4 more 3-pointers in a game last year?
Not a lot.
7 total. He already put up 4 in his first game in just how many minutes? 17 minutes, man. Yeah, you could easily see that this guy's going to have a big role on this team. Who should we talk about this? D'Anthony Melton? Should we talk about Melton?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good to see just the shots going down for him. Like, we know he started super cold. Like, it was good to just see those go in. I know they talked about how Melton had a meeting with Nurse and basically say, like, what's going on? It's like all the right things are working. The shots just aren't going in. And that's pretty much what we've all seen. And it was nice to see those go in. He still struggles finishing around the rim. I like it when he dunks. He should try and dunk every single time he's remotely close to the basket, because that's going to be the best results for this team. But I think he needed tonight. It was good for him to see it go in, and I think he's going to build off this one.
Yep, I agree. Sixers fan says Pat Bev loves Philly, man. He had some nice moments in this one too. Some flexing. Like that's how I feel about this team. Like this team has a bunch of those like Corey Brewer-esque players that you root for, that are fun. Much better than Corey Brewer. But anyway, Steven says, remember when people were mad at Morey for losing McDaniels, Niang, and having no plan? Isn't that a fact? Because I remember looking at this roster and being like, where are the wings?
And now we have plenty of them.
Larry says, I don't see any weaknesses in the defense. Harden was a weakness last year. Niang was a weak spot. PJ was slow. There were some defensive lapses in this one, in that third quarter especially, but you can't really get upset about any of this stuff. Happy to see Melton play well. He's very underrated, especially when he's hitting those threes, man. The Sixers shot 11 of 27 from three-point range. Again, just going back to the ball movement, 35 assists on 49 made buckets. They were moving the ball like crazy. I saw guys flying off screens, cutting to the basket. Tobias Harris cutting to the basket that leaves a shooter on the perimeter wide open. Like this is fun basketball again, man. It's been really impressive. Let's get into our player of the game. Here we go. All right, player of the game for the Philadelphia 76ers. Lead us off, Sean. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I know I'm taking the layup here, but Joel Embiid is the answer. That was an MVP performance. He more than delivered. Like I said, he could have gone for 70 tonight if the game script had dictated it. That if that was a competitive game in the fourth, there was nobody stopping him. The 29 in the third was incredibly impressive. Did it in a variety of ways. Didn't force anything. That he did still let the game come to him and still ended up with 48 points in the span of 31 minutes, which is just absurd. Did it on both ends of the floor. Felt his impact defensively. Feels like he's completely bought in, and none of this team-friendly stuff, none of this hype for movement happens without Joel buying in. He's proven that through the start of the season. So for me, it's Joel Embiid tonight.
All right, Joel Embiid for Sean. Nick saying B-ball Paul. I love it. Oh my God, he looks so good in some second half plays for sure. Quinn says Daryl Morey, Howie Roseman. I got to go Maxey. Maxey for me. I just his growth is everything you're wanting to see from this guy in the pick and roll with Joel Embiid. There's been real progress so far. Here is his shot chart. That's what you want to see, like him operating with Embiid down low. Getting Embiid, better looks, getting him in better spots. It's happening, man. It's happening. Sixers fan says clearly Embiid. Mike Muscala.
Shout out Mike Muscala.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And I do feel bad he was straight barbecue chicken on the low post with Joel Embiid tonight, but there's no Tyrese Maxey without Mike Muscala. He deserves his jersey retired in the rafters of the Wells Fargo one day.
Absolutely. That's a really good one. And then let's get to grades. How do you not give this a straight A?
Yeah.
The ball movement, the defense at times, just the overall efficiency on offense, the fast break points. And then again, as we said last post game, any game that results in Embiid just sitting on the pine in the fourth quarter, resting up, is an A. That is a straight A.
100%. And it's these business-like victories that are super appealing to me. That in the past, one of the characteristics I felt about the Sixers team is they do get up for big games. They show up, but a lot of times these, random Monday nights against the Wizards are the ones where we don't see them have their foot on the gas full time. That was far from the case today. From start to finish, this was a business-like win. So shout out to the Sixers for a little bit of a change in mentality, it feels.
Yeah. And check out our grades so far.
Pretty good.
It's been like trending up like crazy, man. It's really cool. 6 games. So I've been doing these grades every post game. Starting with the Bucks, 78, 88, 91, 95, 85, 95. Like the Sixers are trending in the right way at the right time as they get ready for the Boston Celtics. As Mitch says, Furkan Korkmaz. I agree, Sixers fan. Bring on Boston. We'll be doing a watch party for that. I cannot wait, man. That is going to be everything, especially with Tyrese Maxey and historically how much he struggled against the Boston Celtics. Magic Korkmaz was an absolute dime for an Embiid dunk. That was sick.
It was crazy.
Marcus Morris drove to the basket, and then Furkan under the basket did like a sick bounce pass in the lane. And Embiid just flushed it, man. That was awesome.
Shout out Furk, man. Little Furkan Korkmaz resurgence lately. And who knows where this goes from here, but I do like that he's trying to make the most of his opportunity.
It's crazy, man. Mitch says Sixers are having fun out there. And like we said at the top of the show, like Embiid must be so satisfied with everything that's happening on the court, man. And we all know, like Embiid, when he's having fun out there, he's unstoppable. So this could be some real fun times ahead. Derek White will probably still be out on Wednesday. That's
big deal.
That's a
Yeah.
big one.
Yeah.
This is such a great post-Phillies therapy, though. Isn't that a fact, man? I'm still not ready. I'm still not over that. That's brutal. And then I'm going to sleep and wake up Wednesday. Thanks for joining, Barry. All right. That basically wraps up the show. Sean, plugs, final thoughts on the Sixers moving on to 5-1.
Yeah, I'm very happy that this is a full-time good vibes team to pay attention to. That I've joked over the past couple months. I felt like I've turned into a part-time Sixers reporter, part-time TMZ reporter with all the James Harden stuff and everything else surrounding this team. So it feels good that this team feels completely bought in on basketball. Everybody wants to be here, and I'm excited to keep watching them take it up a notch. As far as where you can check me out, you can follow me on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. Check out Sixers Digest, where I got some short form kind of Sixers content churning out there. I'll have a little breakdown on Maxey and his playmaking coming out tomorrow, so make sure to stay tuned for that. You can also catch me on the Fox 1025 The Gambler airwaves on Wednesday. I'll be dropping a preview for the Celtics game as well as everything else NBA and Pick Swap Media, where I have my podcast and everything else popping out of there as well. So Twitter is probably the best way to follow along straight up, but a little bit everywhere.
Best Sixers Twitter follow there is, period. Right there. Nobody does it better. I'm doing a show right after this on the NFL draft in week 11 of college football with Ryan, not Ryan Quill, another Ryan. There's too many Ryans. And we'll be going live in just about 5 minutes. So be sure to check out that out. Birds of the Round Table, breaking down Eagles versus Cowboys will be tomorrow night. And we made a collection of serious but also funny Eagles mid-season awards. So we'll be breaking all those down. So that'll be tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So again, follow my man Sean on Twitter if you love the Sixers. He is Sean_Bernard1. I am Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. For Sean, for myself, for Nick Nurse, stay awesome, everyone.